Namaskar. This evening we will be discussing the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. We used to go to Naperville library and we used to have the in-person classes. Now for the last 1 year it is not possible, so we are continuing this class online. Today also we are doing the same thing, but we will do as we usually do. So let us begin with the Gita Dhyanam, the first and the fifth verse of the Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritabarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Amba tvam anusandadhami Bhagavad Gita bhavadeshinim Vasudeva sutam devam kamsa charnuramardhanam Devaki paramanandam Krishnam bande Jagat Gurum. Friends, at the last month we have studied the 12th chapter. That's the Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion. And there we found that the religion is nothing but developing some wonderful qualities. So most of the time when you talk about religion, we always talk about the processes. The parliament of religion, the different type of people are coming, and then we are discussing about the religion. We are sometimes not very happy with each other, and sometimes we are agreeing. But we are not understanding what true religion is. Religion is that process that makes a brute unto man, man unto God, as Swami Vivekananda said. Religion is a process, and so correct it is. What is the process? Reading the scripture, trying to understand the scripture, trying to imbibe all those instructions that has been given in the scripture. And by that way, slowly, we are transforming, not only modifying, transforming into a wonderful personality, and that is called the divine personality. It is nothing but the qualities. The 12th chapter from 13 to 19, all those qualities the Lord has given, Lord has said, and He said that I love them most, those who are having these qualities. It is not the birth that I have taken in a very good family. It's not the richness that I am donating this much money to for the religious cause. This helps if we can do all those without ego. But without ego, that is most important. And what is this ego? Where from it comes? Why it is with me? How to go beyond the ego? These are the discussions that we do when we study the scripture. Otherwise, why? Why should I, just because Sri Krishna said I am born in the Hindu family, so I am reading the scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, and because I am Hindu reading Bhagavad Gita, I am a holy person, like that? I don't think so. Because that is, transformation should come. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, you have to transform yourself. Religion is realization. One of our great Swami Ranganathananda ji used to say, every night before going to bed, you should check your account. Am I a better person today? That is the religious way. So what is spirituality? Spirituality, the personification of the wonderful qualities that is listed in the scripture. And here, when we read the Bhagavad Gita, and we are getting all those instructions from the Sri Krishna, it is not only the moral values, it is much beyond that. So it takes us from morality to spirituality. The general customary behaviors, and as per the rules, you are not supposed to go and fight with someone. Rules are there, laws are there, law enforcement, the groups are there. So for that, the people, though I am not very happy with someone, but I control myself, that is one type of thing. Then I develop the morality, another type of. But the spirituality means being and becoming. We have read that, and finally, in the last verse, Etu dharma amritamidam yathoktam. The Lord concluded in the 12th chapter, the last verse, the 20th verse, very small chapter. And it says, Etu dharma amritam idam is the nectar. Only few qualities, only 32 qualities. If you read those from the 13th verse to 19th verse, is only 32 qualities that he is mentioning. And if we can inculcate those. Dharmam amritam idam. Dharma here, the dharma, the dri dhatu, that means the holding, that is truly holding the human mind and then transforming, taking him and making him or her God or goddess. The divine. Amritamidam yathoktam parijupasate Shraddhadhana matparama bhaktaste ativa me priya. That truly I love them, I like them. So to get the blessings of the Lord, what should we do? Inculcating these good qualities. Friends, only if we could understand this. The millions are studying the Bhagavad Gita. So many thousands there every time expounding the Bhagavad Gita. But unfortunately, very few there truly practicing it. Why? Because they fight with the nature. What is this nature? The power of God. But that's why Bhagavan said, Sri Ramakrishna said, this is divine leela, a divine sports. It's so difficult. God has given us the track that we have to run. Okay. Then he has taught us how to run. What are the things that we should be careful? And what are the things we should adopt, we should learn? And then he is waiting at the end of the journey. Come to my lap. Now we have to hear him, and that is called scripture. We have to learn from that, because that is the scripture. Why you are studying the scripture? Because God is giving us the caution and also the training and teaching what we should do and what we should not do. Now it is up to us that we have to reach over there. Now let us begin 13th chapter. Trayodasha dhyaya. Trayodasha. Trayo means 3, dasha means 10. So 10 plus 3, 13. Adhyaya, the chapter. And what is this chapter? Kshetra, Kshetragya, Vibhaga Yoga. Kshetra, Kshetragya. Kshetra means matter. Kshetragya, spirit. Now you have to vibhaga, you have to discriminate, differentiate. You have to understand that. This is the uniqueness. If we can take this as a challenge, as a sport, and can follow that, oh, this is the technique, okay, I will do like this. then it is so easy and so joyful. Otherwise, terrible suffering. The temptations are there, the holes are there, and the barriers are there. Somewhere you have to jump, somewhere you have to go down and come up, you have to walk, some to run, you have to keep your balance like that. Every time. So now the Lord is telling us what is called Kshetra. Kshetra means the matter. And Kshetra Gya. Gya means the knowledge. So the knower of that is called the Spirit, the God Himself, the Atman, the consciousness. These two has mingled. Now you have to find it out. I saw, I don't know where actually, that the one type of game that the newly married couple, they will be playing, that they will be playing, and they will keep a big pot and the water will be there. Water means they will mix the milk also so that you cannot see what is there inside, and they will put many other things inside, small things, and the ring. The game is you have to put your hand and you have to pick up the ring without the other things. Game. And you have to have the idea about a ring, how the ring is, and the shape of the ring and the how it is made. They will show it and then throw. So to remember that, then you find almost same like that, but it is not that. And it is a round shape. This is a square shape. No, this is not. This is not. This is not. Game. We don't know what is God. The same way, we can't see God, we can't touch God, but we know about God from the scripture. This we will learn today. What is this Kshetra? And this the water, we can say, the milk and the water mixed up, and many other things they mix. So it is, you cannot see, it is not at all transparent. So that is the Kshetra, this world. And this world is made of two things, Nama and Rupa. It's the name and the form. So how it came? With the three gunas. What are the three gunas? Sattva, Raja, Tama. And this, where from these gunas came? From God. So that means that God has created this universe. Out of what? Out of Himself. So what we are searching? That self. We are searching that self. Where? In the mixed up. What is that mixed up? This world. So Satya, Anrite, Mithuni, Kritve, it says, Satya means the truth, the eternal, and the Anrite, Satya and Anrita. This is the falsehood, that they mixed it up and you have to find it out. So that is called spiritual journey. That is called spiritual practices. So we have to understand it in a very clear way. What is the spiritual practices? Tapasya, sadhana, what is that? Awareness, understanding, and how you will be always alert by studying the scripture. Now let us begin with the 13th chapter. And we, as usually know, that we read Atha Trayodasha Adhyayah Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhaga Yoga Arjuna Uvacha. 13th chapter, and the name of the chapter is Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhaga, the matter and the spirit, discriminating the matter and the spirit, between the matter and the spirit. And now we begin with a question that Arjuna is forwarding to the Lord Krishna. Arjuna Uvacha Prakritim Purushan Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragyamevacha Etad Veditumichhami Jnanam Giyam Cha Keshava. O Keshava, Arjuna is asking, O Keshava. In some of the Bhagavad Gita book, this particular sloka, this particular mantra is not there. They begin from the the second one. I don't know why, but most of the books they are having, and we are having. Shankaracharya is also mentioning this. The Prakriti and Purusha. The one is Prakriti and another is Purusha. Then Kshetra, Kshetragya. What is this Prakriti and Purusha? The two terminology we know. And then Kshetra, Kshetragya. This is the field and the knower of the field, Kshetragya. And then he is asking, Kshetra Kshetragya mebacha etad veditum ichchami, then Jnanam Giyam Cha Keshava. Cha means and. Again, and, O Keshava, O Krishna, what is this knowledge? And that which to be known. It is not telling the object. Which to be known. There are three questions then. Three things he wants to know. Three things he wants to clarify. First is Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti is the power of God, and Purusha is the God himself, the consciousness. These two I like to know. Again, the same thing he likes to know, and he is using two separate another terminology. Kshetra, Kshetragya. Prakriti, Purusha. Kshetra, Kshetragya. What is this field? And the knower of the field, Kshetragya. Ga means the knowledge. The who knows about this field, and what is this knowledge? And then he is telling what we are going to know through this knowledge. It's not object, but we are going to reveal something, knowing something. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragyameva cha Etad Veditumichchami Jnanam Giyam Cha Keshava. Now he says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Now before that, let us know about the body, Prakriti. Now this body, what is this body? We will learn that Bhagavan Sri Krishna is giving the description of this in the 5th and 6th verse of the same chapter. So we will just read afterwards. What is this field? The Kshetra. In the colloquial Bengali it says Khet. But in Sanskrit it is Kshetra, the same, the field where we are going to cultivate. So that is the field. That means this is the body. And the field is the body, Kshetra. And the body, this is the matter. So obviously we have to understand about the body. This is very important. Why? This body and mind. And inside that there is the consciousness. So all of us, we are aware about the body. Though from the point of view of the medical point of view, we know the body is like this, the bones are there, marrows are there, bloods are there, filths are there, and there are so many things. But all those things, they call it matter. Why matter? Because it is constantly changing. And not only that, the Hindus, they go very subtle way and they find out what these matters are. And they find 5 matters. We'll come to that in the next verses. This is called the body. And then who is the knower? The spirit. So, knower of the field, the word takes the Kshetra. In the 7th chapter, Sri Krishna described the 2 Prakriti of the Lord. The 7th chapter that we have already studied, we have already read, many of you may remember that different 2 Prakritis are there. And one Prakriti that is made of making all these things. This is the Prakriti, inferior Prakriti. The matter consists of 3 gunas and is divided into 8 parts. It entangles the spirit in the world. The three gunas are Sattva, Raja and Tama. And the superior Prakriti is the individualized soul of the Jiva. The 7th chapter we have read. So this body we know, and inside the body, there is a mind, the subtle. But only mind? No, there is another spirit. Usually it is said there is a body-mind complex. What is a being? A body-mind complex. Swami Vivekananda said, no, add one more thing. The Vedanta teaches that with this body-mind complex, psychophysical being, there is also the spirit. There is also the divine spirit. About that, we are not very much aware. But that is the main thing. When that lifts our body, then we are dead. About that we will learn. Who is the knower of the field and in reality one with the Lord Himself. This is the spirit. Through these two Prakriti, the lower Prakriti and the upper Prakriti or supreme, the Prakriti, this creating, sustaining and ultimately dissolving these two, the whole universe. The 13th chapter is giving us, describing these two Prakriti, the field and the knower of the field. The field and the knower of the field. Now the second verse. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Arjuna asks the question. In replies, Sri Krishna is mentioning. So here the Vedavyasa who composed, who recorded, he is telling not Krishna but Bhagavan. Why Bhagavan? Because he knows everything. So that is why he is Bhagavan. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramitya vidiyate etad yo vettitam prahu kshetragya iti tad vidaha. Very clear in 2 lines. He mentioned idam shariram kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Kaunteya. In those days, the children were identified by the name of their mother also. So afterwards, long afterwards, slowly it became only the father's, the surname should be their identification. But nowadays, once again, the modern time, it is coming back. Mother was also very famous, the Kunti. So Kunti's son, Kaunteya. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetram iti avidiyate. This body is known as the kshetra. So he was asking Prakriti Purusha. Now Prakriti Purusha he will describe, but then he asked what is kshetra and kshetragya. He says this body is known as kshetra. Kshetra. Etadyo and kshetragya avidiyate. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetram iti avidiyate etad yo beti. Who knows these about this body, aware about what is this body, then he is called kshetragya. Who knows about this body? I am so and so, I am Ishatmananda. Who says? My hand? Who is telling this? My leg? Who is telling that I am Ishatmananda? That awareness. The moment we can understand who is this, who is that I am telling I, who is this I, that awareness is kshetragya. I am Ishatmananda. This I is associated with the body and the mind and also all the karmas, activities that I am doing. Who is understanding that? Who is knowing that? That is called kshetragya, the knower of the field. He says like this very clearly, know that I am the knower of all fields. And he will be telling idam shariram etad yot vetti tam prahu kshetragya iti tadvidaha. Then he says, Kshetrajna chapi mam vidhi Sharva Kshetreshu Bharata Kshetra Gayor Jnanam Yattaj Jnanam Matam Mama. I am the knower of all this field. Individual self and the sum total of those individual self. The summum bonum, the ultimate, the all. That is called the knower. Now the individual self and the total of those total self. Now here a confusion may be, that means am I going on counting the how many people are there? Oh, this many millions and trillion people, okay. So all that, and then there will be how much birds and the animals and the reptiles and these, that. So I calculate all those and to say, oh, this is called God, the knower of them. No, it is not like that. You know what? This is what the Vedanta says, the God is all alone, is one only. And when we see that as an individual consciousness, it is only the reflection. But that reflection on our intellect give us the power to understand. So I say I, that ego, that capacity to understand, that capacity to investigate, all those things are coming only from the reflection of that original consciousness. It is consciousness. The reflection of the consciousness is also consciousness. When the light is reflecting on the mirror, it is light. It is not darkness. The same we have to understand in the same way. And he says, that is me. That consciousness is me. That is only my reflection you see over there. So we are innumerable living beings, and high, low, cosmic person, Brahma, everything is nothing but the field. Right from the Brahma down to the clump of earth or the grass. This is called the field. What is the field that Arjuna wanted to know? Everything that is made up. Everything that has a beginning. Everything that is limited. The Brahma is living many years more than me and you and everyone. But still it has a limit. One yuga, after the one yuga, Brahma is also going to die. So obviously this Brahma is also limited. That is exactly what it says. So in the Vedanta, they say that the knower of that Brahman, and in the simple way, it is better to, now instead of going to the deep philosophy, as we are reading, Kshetrajna chapi mam vidhi. Me, you should know as the, O descendants of the Bharata, as the Kshetrajna, a knower of all Kshetras. Again, just to clarify, what are the Kshetras? This creation. The creation is also known as Prakriti. The Prakriti, the Kshetra, all are same. And this is made of different elements that we will come to know. So this is called the Kshetra. Who knows about it? Do I know about myself? Whether the doctor knows about the body? Yes, they know. But that knowledge is completely different. Each and everything of this world, right from the Brahma, not Brahman, Brahma, the creator, he was also created by that supreme consciousness. So he is a created being. As because he is a created being, he has a beginning. Obviously, he will have an end also. So all those things are called Prakriti, all those things are called Kshetra, and understanding these subtle way is called Kshetragya. So Arjuna wanted to know about Kshetra and Kshetragya, and also Prakriti, Purusha, and all Jnana and Gya. Now here he says Kshetra Gayor Jnanam Judge Tad Jnanam. When you are understanding these, briefly this is telling that it is the field and which is the nature, where is the modification, where all this comes, who it is knower and the power. This way it is describing. This is the knowledge called Jnana. So Arjuna asked 3 questions. Lord gave the answer of the 3. One is that the Prakriti and Purusha. One is Kshetra, Kshetragya. And then finally, what is this knowledge? This is the knowledge. Knowledge of understanding. Knowledge, the capacity to discriminate between the created being and the creator, matter and the spirit. This is the knowledge. So up to this. Now the 4th one. Tat kshetram yaccha yadrikcha yadvikari yatascha yat sachayo yat prabhavascha tat samasena me srinu. And that what you are now here, you are hearing, tat kshetram yaccha yadrikcha. It says in this way. Now, what is the kshetra? Tat kshetra, this says, this truth has been sung by the rishis in the 4th. What the kshetra is, what is properties are, what is modifications are, what effects arise from what causes, and also who he is and what his powers are. That hear from me in brief. Again, he is going to give the idea about the Kshetragya. The Kshetra we have come to know, now it is the Kshetragya he is going to tell. And the 5 and 6 verse he is telling, Rishi bhi bahudha gitam chandar bhi bibidai prithak Brahma Sutra Padaschaiva Hetu Madhvi Vinishchitai. Mahabhuta Ahamkara Buddhi Abhyaktamevacha Indriyani Dashaikancha Pancha Chendriya Gochara Ichha desha sukham dukkham samghataschetana dhriti etat kshetram samasena savikaramudahritam. It goes on, the great elements, the I consciousness and understanding and the unmanifested, the 10 senses, the mind, the 5 objects of the senses, all these things are coming, and then comes the desire, hatred, pleasure, pain, and everything it comes. So we will go one after another, the great elements, the egoism, the intellect, and also the unmanifested, Mahaprakriti, unmanifested, which is in a subtle form, the 10 senses and the one mind, 5 objects of the senses, desire, hatred, pleasure, pain, the aggregate, the intelligence, then fortitudes, all this is called Kshetra, and that has been briefly described. Now he is giving the details about the Kshetra. What are the Kshetras? All these things. Even the Ichha, the desire, the dvesha, the aversion, all these things are come as a, that these are all subtle. But it gives, the Shankar is speaking about this, also the Prakriti, the great elements, Mahabhuta, that pervades all, everything. If you have noticed how the Hindus, they perform the puja, arati, then you will know these 5 elements only they are showing to God. Why? Because everything that we here, including me, the God has given. It's the creation of the God. What new thing I can give to God? That's why what the Hindu they do, they offer the same thing that the God has made this world, the 5 elements, Mahabhuta in Sanskrit they say, and they offer those 5 things to God, because it is, the whole thing is made of that. Me and this world is made of 5 elements, Pancha Bhuta. It has the subtle and the manifested form. Shiti, Apa, Tej, Marut and Bhoma. That is the ether, the earth, the water, we all know that. This is the 5 things that we can understand. So here it says, the great elements, ether, air, fire, water and earth. Pancha Bhuta. What is that I consciousness? This is the cause of the element, 5 element. What is the intellect? This is the discriminating faculty, that is the I, and that is actually giving us the consciousness, reflected consciousness, and then unmanifested object, that is the energy. 10 senses, 5 organs of perception and 5 organs of actions. So these are total called 24, and this is called the Kshetra, and this is the Prakriti, etc. The Rishis, they have talked about that. All the Kshetra and Kshetragya, it has been, the Rishis, they have talked about that. Brahma Sutra Padaschaiva, they say, even these are the Brahma Sutra, that is the talking about the Brahman. So just giving an idea what is that Brahman, supreme consciousness. It's not explaining that. So now, to simplify this thing, one is known as Brahman, and that is the consciousness. That is one without a second. This is the conclusion of all the knowledge of the Veda. This one became many. Why? That we don't know. Why he became many, we are not aware. How, we know. So how he just transformed from himself or itself, it is better to say itself, all these elements, subtle, and slowly it manifested as the gross. The subtle and the gross. And finally, it is the jivas, the having everything in such a nice way, the finished product, we can say, the human being, the finished product, and in the human being, in a much better way, it gave the consciousness. The other beings are also having the consciousness. Even an ant is also having the consciousness. And sometimes consciousness is there completely covered. That's why we say the stone. We say this is the wood, like this we say, but it is also the consciousness, but completely covered. Maximum manifested in human being. And if we try to understand that, and the moment we understand that, we break all the boundaries, all the dualities, all the fear of death, and once again the life, we become one with the consciousness. This is called jnana. The whole thing slowly is taking us to that part. And it says the Ichcha, Desha, Sukham, Dukkham, all our desires, everything comes under that. In the 8th verse, it says that we will read the 8th verse now. And the 8th verse, again, the qualities. And it says like this: Amanityam, Adambhityam, Ahimsa, Shanti Arjabam, Acharyopasanam Shaucham, Sthoirjam, Atma Vinigraha. The qualities about that he is telling. Let me read the 9th one also. Indriyartheshu vairagyam, anahamkara evacha, janma mrityu jara vyadhi, dukkha doshanudarshanam. It says that the humility, amanittam, and adambhittam, humility, that is Sri Ramakrishna said in his unique way, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling, when there is the hollow is there only the water can accumulate. Otherwise, if it is always sticking the high, the water will fall on it, but it won't accumulate over there. We need the humbleness to receive the grace of God. And what is this humbleness? Eradication of the ego. And what is this ego? The I consciousness attached with the body and mind. When the I consciousness, which is nothing but the reflection of the Supreme Consciousness, reflection, by mistake get associated with this body and mind, it becomes ego, and for that ego makes us separate from the God. We can't realize God because of the ego. So Sri Ramakrishna's words, many of you know, Ami mole ghuchive janjal. When this I will be removed, then all problem will be solved. So this is how Amanittam, Adambhittam, Ahimsa, Shanti, Arjavam. What is that Adambhittam? The Adambha. Dambha, that always I am predicting, that the ego that is manifested, that is Dambha, Adambhittam. And Ahimsa, non-injury. Shanti, forbearance. Arjavam, uprightness. Acharya upashanam, service to the teacher. Shaucham, purity. And steadiness. Sthoirja, steadiness. Atma vinigraha, self-control. The friends, that to go to God, we need a very strong resolution, very strong mind, very strong willpower. Otherwise, God things are there everywhere, tempting you. So that is why the gods created this world, and these 5 things that is constantly tempting, Rupa, Rasa, Sabda, Sparsha, Gandha, the form and the smell, the taste, and all these things constantly attracting your mind, which is also very weak, because that is also made of that, and you have to take the resolution, and then you have to control your senses. How it is possible? Because of the scripture. That is why it is so important to study the scripture, and from the scripture we are learning the humility, the acharya upashanam shaucham. When we are here also we find humility, modesty, non-violence, forbearance, uprightness, service to the teacher, purity, steadfastness, self-control. First is humility, humbleness. In the monastic training, the very first thing is this, the humbleness. If someone has joined the order 1 year before, in the Ramakrishna mission, usually we begin the counting of the year from the Tithi Puja of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. This year, 2021, it will be the 14th March. We will be celebrating here also, and you can join us online. So from this, the young boys who are coming, and they express their desire, and they pray to the authority that please accept me as a monastic from this day. Suppose you have come 15 days after the Tithi Puja, and someone has joined before the Tithi Puja, only 15 days, 1 month, but he is 1 year senior than you in sannyasa. And we expect that even though maybe that he is by age he is senior or in qualification is much higher, but even then he is supposed to touch the feet of the senior one and should show his humbleness. So this way, the humility, the humbleness, and so far for this last 45 years I have seen all the monastic brothers, they always maintain this. This humility is the first quality to receive God or realize God itself. To realize God, this humility. The humility, then the modesty. Amanittam adambittam. This is modesty. This modesty means, again, he knows everything. But he won't go for bragging. I know. He'll never say that. He'll never say that bragging. He'll be humble. If somebody is describing something, though he know it, he'll be quietly hearing and listening and try to understand what are the things better I can take from it, what are the good points that he is mentioning. That is called humbleness. And that is called the modesty. Of course, the non-violence, ahimsa. So when you talk about the ahimsa, it is a big subject again, because the wrong conception, wrong idea that ahimsa means only about the food. No. Ahimsa is completely from inside. The ahimsa, it says that non-violence even in thought, not only in food. If you are taking vegetarian food, but you are thinking that how to cheat that man, how to rob that person, or to kill that man, and all those things, negative things you are thinking, this is not ahimsa. The ahimsa is also a mental and the psychological attitude, the spiritual quality. Ahimsa, 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 the again and again and again it says. Sometimes Gandhiji tried to use it, this ahimsa, this attitude, in the political the fight also, and he gets appreciation all over the world about this. So I am not going to fight against. The ahimsa is completely a new idea, and it needs a very strong mind to practice ahimsa. Externally we can show it, but what about the internal? And sometimes we say some words, use some words in such a way that harms another's job. And he may lose his job because I go to the boss, the person who can engage or can fire, I go and report about someone in such a way, very humble way, as if nothing, but that makes the creative problem for the boss to take the decision. This is also not ahimsa. So ahimsa, again and again we have to ponder over this, and am I doing anything that may that create problem or harmed something or someone, I should restrain from that. So humility, modesty, non-violence, and the forbearance, the shanti arjavamevacha, and uprightness. And shanti and that we know, and service to the teacher, this is also very important. And two different ways we can serve the teacher. Physically, and we are helping that the teacher for his food and these and that. That is also one type. And another, I am practicing all those things that the teacher has asked me to practice or taught me. When a guru, sometimes some people they say in the Indian tradition, the guru who gives the mantra should also take care of the shishya, the disciples. And they say, oh, I only took the mantra and then I could never meet the guru, I never got the guidances, I couldn't serve him. No, wrong. Whatever the mantra that the guru has given to you and asked you to practice in the morning and evening, and maybe sometimes he has asked that you must try to continue all the time. If you are doing that, that is a great service to the guru. So that is also great service. From the distance and just mentally, if we are offering the pranam, that's also great pranam, that is also offering is going to. Not that you have to physically go and touch. It is good if you can. But if you cannot, don't think that, oh, I am unfortunate, I cannot go and serve physically. It's not necessary. We can serve the Guru by obeying his words. So this is what they say. And uprightness, arjavam, straightforward. And never complicated. Never making the things unnecessarily complicated. Friends, are these not the qualities? Yes, again. In the 12th chapter, we heard from the Lord that these qualities, if they are having, the same again in a different way, the Lord is presenting before us, teaching us. So this is very important to acquire the good qualities. That is the humility, modesty, non-violence, forbearance, uprightness, service to the teacher, purity, steadfastness, and self-control. And about the purity, my idea, there's sometimes physical and mental, the purities. The purity means love and unselfishness. The God is pure. And what is that God? It's love. And that love knows no bound, no border. It goes and embraces each and every one. And that is called the purity. And unselfishness at the same time. Ma Sharadamani Devi is the personification of purity. She is the personification of purity. How it is possible? If you look at her life, is nothing but love and unselfishness. So this, then the dispassion towards the saints' objects is there, slowly, the dispassion, indriya, that we will, I think, is the time, a little more time is there. And acharya upashanam shaucham staijya atma vinigraha, and indriyartheshu vairagyam anaham kara evacha janmo mrittu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. Then the 10th verse also let us read. Asakti anavi sanga putra dara grihadishu nityancha samachittatvam ishta anishta upapattishu moicha ananya yogena bhakti abhyabhicharini vivikta desha sevityam arati jana samsadi. Now, up to 11 we just read, and quickly the little meaning of this, that dispassion towards the saints' objects, absence of ego, perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and sickness and pain, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, dukkha, doshanu. So, my God, I don't like to take birth again. Again, I have to go through all these things. So, dosha darshana, that means finding the fault in it and then keeping the mind away from that. Non-attachment, non-identification of self with the children, wife, the home and the rest, unvarying evenness of mind in the midst of agreeable and disagreeable, unswerving devotion to me, the God, through constant meditation on non-separation, restoring to solitude, and like this, all the qualities, constancy in the knowledge of the self and insight into the object of the knowledge of truth. This is declared to be knowledge, and all that is contrary to it is ignorance. So, friends, this up to this today, this is what we learn. What we learn from the today's the reading, as I am again and again referring to you, that I am that last chapter that we read in the last month, that is the 12th chapter, the qualities, and in the 13th chapter also, when the three questions the Arjuna asked, the Lord took that opportunity to tell him, the Arjuna, that there are two different types of Prakriti, the nature, and that both those natures belong to me. One that is external, inferior, another is superior nature, that is consciousness. Now, O dear Arjuna, understand the inferior, this nature of mind. So, this is very important to understand. This world that we see, the manifestation of so many varieties of things, the different names and forms, this is also made of God. But inferior quality. Why inferior quality? Because they are not permanent. When you think that, oh, they are inferior, so I should not do this, I should not. It is inferior in the sense that it is temporary. Now, if you give your mind to that, to the temporary thing, what will happen? Every time we will suffer. I try to embrace this, I try to hold this, and then it slips away, it goes away, and brings back the misery to me. Understanding this, and slowly, slowly we have to give up. And when we are discussing about the temporary things, it goes to my body also, my mind also, and anything and everything that is associated with this body and mind, like the wife, the husband, the children, the property, and each and everything. So, this is the unique teaching he is giving us, and then he is telling that we should be humble, the humility, and because the ego is the cause of separation of the jiva from the God. And what is this ego? Very peculiarly, the reflection of the consciousness that is on our buddhi, on our intellect, that is ego. Reflection. And with that reflection I am denying God. Suppose the moon deny the rays of the sun, it will be like that. If the moon says, I don't like to talk to the sun, I don't like to keep any connection with the sun, I don't believe in the existence of the sun, the next day nobody will be able to see the moon, because moon's light is nothing but the reflection of the sun's light. Our ego is also like that. So, up to this we will continue from the next class. There may be one question, so let me listen to the question and try to give the answer.
The question is from Madhuram Nagroy. He is asking, what is the main theme of Gita? Path of dualism or non-dualism? Madhuram is asking.
Madhuram, this is the Gita gives us the both path of dualism and also the Advaita, non-dualism. According to your capacity of understanding, you should take that. Ultimately, it takes us to the non-dual, because Hinduism is based on the non-dual aspect, non-dual knowledge. Because the Veda says it is that Brahman, and out of Brahman everything has come. So there cannot be the duality. But this moment I am not ready to understand that and practice that. So what? I keep my mind on God. And who is this God? Again that Brahman with quality. The Supreme Brahman without quality. And then Brahman with quality, Swaguna Brahma. You must have heard this word, Swaguna Brahma. And that Swaguna Brahma, from there all the creation is coming. And you know the guna means, I am repeating, Sattva Rajatama. This quality also belongs to that same God. So this is the uniqueness, but still we are not very much ready to understand this non-duality. That is why the Hindus allows us to accept the duality. So Gita is teaching us both. If you can understand non-duality, of course it is non-dual. And when you are not understanding this, it is dual. So no problem. Thank you. So let us conclude with this verse, and that is again in the Gita Dhyana, the last verse, the 9th one. You can also read with me. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta Stunnanti Divyai Stavai Vedai Sangha Padakramopanishadai Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam Nabidu Sura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat.